the searchlight is on, and people can't deny what is visible to everybody. And since they're in the training, they've already decided that they don't want to deny. They want to uncover. They want to realize.
But how, if people spend a lifetime endeavoring to go in what you've just described, yeah. and I always have difficulty. How do you describe that that's possible in 2 days?
I'm not saying that it's possible in 2 days. Yeah. All I say, we've seen that it's not impossible, and let people disprove it. The only condition that we have is that the only way that we can at least give it a chance is by going in there and giving it the benefit of the doubt. So genuinely going there to uncover things that might be uncomfortable, but if unseen, cause reactions in you that disrupt everything that's important to you. There's no opinions there. There's no statements made that you have to accept without reflecting on yourself and seeing that, wow, that's actually the best way of describing what I cannot deny. And then giving that a chance to see how far you can go with that. So if you bring your ego in there, then at least let's agree that the moment we realize that the ego is speaking, that becomes the subject of the investigation, of the discovery. I have no problems with egos. I have a problem with an ego that sets the context for the interaction. That's all. I have an ego. Don't worry about it. It's part of what makes life pleasurable, because it's something that you can laugh at. It's very amusing to see all the struggles that are contained in trying to hold on to something personal. It's beautiful how the whole matter is just like fighting the unavoidable, you know. Yeah.
There's one thing that I've never been really capable of describing what, I did a lot of trainings before we did our training, and what I noticed is that I always had that excitement of the first 2 days, and there was always stuff I took from everyone. Mm-hmm. So I was like a carnivore. I took the best of what, as far as I was concerned, the very good trainings out there. But what I noticed is that they all were like, I always hear it, and I would have said it years ago, it's another tool in my chest. It's another tool I take with me. Mm-hmm. And I've never been able to convey that there's a permanence about what can be expected after as a possibility. Mm-hmm. That someone can actually see that it won't necessarily be a tool, but an active awareness that actually is carried with them. And how would you say describe that difference? How would you say that how does that come about, or how is it that this isn't just like that other training where you learn some tips or tricks and then you're better at having a better talk?
In my mind there's two ways that I could do that, but let's take the last one first, okay? When you learn something, you can, let's say you describe situations that people find themselves in, and in those situations they don't see how to solve the issues that they're having. Yeah, in business, in relationships, in personal matters, doesn't really matter. So you're stuck with a problem and you don't know how to solve it. Okay? Then a tips and tricks training, yeah, they give you the tools to solve certain issues. They might actually work. Yeah, so if this happens, then you do that. That's sort of the way. And it could be that these trainings address real important issues for you. They might be, as far as you can imagine, if you solve that one particular issue, then wow, everything goes downhill. It's great. Yeah, it's easy. There's no more effort. The thing is that although these tricks might work in the circumstance that you have your problems, that every tool also has its limitation. And in order to make it become part of your awareness, you not only have to know what it is that it can do, but you also have to be very aware of what it is that it won't do. So what the circumstances are for this tool to really work. And that requires an insight. So then you see that the tool isn't the issue, but the insight into what the circumstances are and how it all comes together in order to make it a problem, and what is required for that problem no longer to be a problem, but to be transformed into a solution. Yeah, and what we teach people is not so much the tools that people can use, but we teach people the general and universal process that goes on when issues are solved that were previously unsolved. And to give you an inkling of to what that means is that a problem, as Einstein said already, a problem cannot be solved within the context in which it occurs. Yeah? So the idea of concept, which is not important in the training, we're not necessarily talking about it, but mentally you can understand that if you try to measure, let's say, a millimeter in the context where the sizes that you use are only centimeters, yeah, then all of a sudden that centimeter can never solve an issue that relates to smaller than the centimeter. Okay. Now, in order to work with something that needs a millimeter size of tool, you have to realize that the centimeter is the problem. And it's not always a problem, because normally the centimeter can do everything you need, but in certain circumstances it's just not sufficient. And what we show people, and we make them aware of in the process, is that there's a universal aspect to how these contexts limit you and enable you. And then at a certain point, people start to understand that what is general about how these things get solved. And once that's aware, people become aware of how they themselves form those limited contexts that stop them from seeing the solutions. And that's something different than giving people a tool. It's giving people the ability to create tools wherever they need them. And you have to really experience it, because once it's clear, you can no longer deny, oh, yeah, that's almost how you turn everything into gold in terms of finding solutions. You see how one of the major limitations that people have is what their personal connotations are with what they're trying to achieve or how they're trying to achieve it. So you feel an emotional component to how these things are limited. So the context is not just a mental concept, it's also an emotional, it has lots of sides. And in the interactions with people in the training, we show them not only verbally, but actually as an experience, how it is stuck, and we show them how you can resolve that, and that thing is then a universal key to developing tools wherever you need them. Does that make sense?
You know, it makes sense. And at the same token, I struggle to give someone an idea of how it could be. It feels almost too good to be true. If I had to put them, it's like, yeah, you're telling me I could put a tool in every. So, what makes it so simple and yet so effective? So, say, all-encompassing, at least how you...
Okay, let's take another. Let's say you live in a world, and the world is two-dimensional. You can go forward, you can sideward, you can go backwards, and that way you can move in the surface of your world. Yeah. Now let's say that somebody has said to you, hey, listen, if you want to find something in that surface, you take 2 steps to the front and 1 step to the left, and if you're here and you want to be there, then that's guaranteed to work. Yeah. Then you need almost infinite amount of tools in order to maneuver in that surface that you call your world. It's superficial. Yeah. These are the tools that people give you normally. Now what if there's somebody out there who said to people, hey, listen, you can find any tool you need the moment you need it, but I need to give you an experience first. Then from the two-dimensional surface, people would say, hey, that's almost too good to be true, and something that sounds too good to be true cannot be true. So it must not be true. Okay? Whereas the person that has at least the state of mind to say, well, I don't think it's possible, but who am I to say that if you give me an opportunity to experience for myself that it's actually possible, then that's the way that I can verify or falsify your
assertion.
Yeah, assertions. That's the word I was looking for. Thank you.